I'm joined today by Adam Savit, who is the director of AFPI's China Policy Initiative. Adam, so glad to have you here today. This is something you have been advocating for a long time. It's a critical action that's being taken. Talk to us about how we got here and what these actions by the USDA entail.
I'm glad to be here, and it is a big day. This has been an issue that's been raised, it's an issue that's been around for a couple decades, but really over the past 2 to 3 years or so, this has come to the public consciousness, both just among the general public and also our legislatures, our state legislators specifically, and our governors started to act on this in 2022, 2023. There's hundreds of thousands of acres owned by the CCP and other adversaries. Not only is this a food security issue, which it most certainly is, but also a lot of this land is in proximity to military bases and critical infrastructure. There's a history of the CCP buying land in these areas. 2 examples. 2019, a Chinese billionaire tried to buy tens of thousands of acres on the border of Texas and Mexico. This was near Laughlin Air Force Base, and it's training flight paths. This is a very sensitive military area. The federal government was not able to step in and prevent this. It took state action, legislation, and local activism in order to stop that purchase. Up in the northern part of our country, North Dakota, in 2022, the Chinese food company, Fufeng Group, acquired land that was only a few miles from Grand Forks Air Force Base. Now, that's one of the bases where we have our B-1 strategic bombers housed. Again, the federal agency involved was not able to step in. They said it wasn't within their purview. And so it did take local pressure on the mayor, and he finally withdrew the ability for them to make that purchase. But the federal government has not been able or willing to act on these issues. And hopefully this announcement this week will bring those teeth for reporting as well as enforcement. I think we'll talk about that. What's
the reaction from the ag community right now, Adam? When it comes to our foreign adversaries, what's keeping them up at night?
Well, we only have to look at what happened this week or last week. It keeps on happening. Basically, 2 weeks ago, 2 researchers at the University of Michigan, Chinese foreign students, were caught trying to smuggle in a pathogen, a fungus, which affects crops, which affects our staple crops, wheat, corn, rice, etc. So it could ruin our food supply chains, ruin our economy, because that would, of all the things that would imply, to ruin the food supply. And also it does affect humans and livestock. So again, if it starts affecting livestock, that'll affect our meat supplies, that'll affect our ability to be healthy and really continue life, and it also can affect human beings. So it's unfortunate. The University of Michigan has been at the center of some of this stuff, unfortunately, and it seems like every week another shoe drops in this case. Yes, our crops and our food supply are definitely under threat.
So, Adam, we're speaking now about federal actions that are taking place. Is this part of a broader move of actions that need to be taken, perhaps on the state level?
Sure. There's an agency, and this will be involved in the USDA announcement called CFIUS, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States. That's the federal agency that is supposed to be protecting us, and it does much good work regarding incoming investment from foreign countries and whether that would affect our national security. So, for example, a technology company that would put China at an advantage, or we could look at another adversary, Russia, buying a critical infrastructure, a dam or land near an electric plant or something like that. But in many of these cases, especially with agricultural land, because until now, there haven't been specific measures put in place to track this or to enforce it. Unfortunately, that federal agency or committee has not been equipped to do that. Therefore, it went down to the states. And more than half of our states now have introduced measures that would effectively prevent the CCP and other adversaries from buying farmland. And depending how you measure it, 9 or 10 have passed measures that would do so.
So the Agricultural Foreign Investment Disclosure Act and the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, they're acting on policies that you and AFPI have specifically recommended, Adam. How will this benefit Americans in real terms?
Well, that's the thing. The first one we can shorten to AFIDA. That is the reporting mechanism within the USDA, which is to report on the foreign purchases, to catalog them, to know where they are and where they're situated, what states they're in. We need that information in order to assess the national security threat in order to make policies to address that. So there's been a lot of holes in that. It's a very antiquated way of reporting. They're not necessarily confident that they have all the stats. So there's going to be a new penalty put in that if you don't report within 10 days to AFIDA, if a foreign company that buys the agricultural land, they will be fined 25% of the value of the land. That's quite hefty, okay? So that's a real deterrent. That's really going to make these statistics more reliable and more significant for enforcement. And on the other side, CFIUS, which I mentioned earlier, the investment committee, will now coordinate. There's going to be a memorandum of understanding, which has been signed, which is going to help CFIUS to coordinate directly with the USDA and be involved in the purchase of agricultural land, the agricultural industry. Okay, so anything involving food security, this is now going to come over the purview of CFIUS explicitly. So that's going to help that committee make decisions that'll help national security.
Adam, this is huge. This is such an informative discussion. I think a lot of Americans may have heard bits and pieces of it in the news, but now to understand all that's been going on and the actions that are being taken, it's an exciting time. We appreciate you and the great work that you've done here at AFPI to help push this forward. And thank you so much for taking time to be with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. It is very important, and I'm very glad to be here. Thanks.